Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. If you want me to become a big YouTuber and you can see more of my stuff, you leave a comment, click the thumbs up or thumbs down, subscribe, and click the bell. That actually helps the entire channel. And to really boost the channel, you have to watch the entire video. It doesn't matter what the video is, you have to just watch the whole video. Let me explain something to a lot of you all who might look at politics but don't understand politics. Politics, the actual practice of politics, is to say something or do something that has absolutely nothing to do with the law. Politics is to try and shape and form the opinions of those that you want to control. That's all it is. It's not right, it's not wrong. Meaning, when I say it's not right, it's not wrong, what you say is not right. It's not wrong, but it's not right. Meaning there is no person that sits at a table somewhere with a red marker and says, that's correct. Politics is all about perception. So when the Democratic Party says A, B, and C, I want you to understand it has no basis in being correct or right or truthful. That's what politics is. It operates outside of the truth. The mechanism by which politics is exercised is to do so to manipulate for an outcome. And that's all it is. All of this stuff about the President of the United States, the most powerful man in the entire planet, is all a matter of trying to manipulate for a specific outcome. Trump is not evil. Trump is not good. All of those people who stand waving flags and screaming and yelling and doing whatever, let me repeat that to you. Trump is not evil. Trump is not good. If you believe something about Trump, you have fell victim to politics. The same thing for Republicans, too. What you say is not right. What you say is not wrong. It's politics. Now, having said all of that, the law is the law. Politics comes in when you want to manipulate the law to mean something that you want it to mean. And if you can get others to agree with you through politics, then you can twist and bend the law to your liking. But if you have a cut and dry law that says the sky is blue, there's no amount of politics that can change that sentence or change that law. So when I go over this news, I want you to have absolutely no compunction about where my stance is. My stance is it's illegal. What they're doing is illegal. What they're saying is illegal. When I say they, I'm referring to various people behind the scenes pulling strings. They know they're wrong. That's the beauty of politics, or shall I say, the evilness of politics. This is why the biggest opponents of women voting were women, not men. Women. Know your history, women. Know your history, liberals. Know your history, feminists. The biggest opponents of women having the privilege to vote. It has never been a right in this country. From the very beginning, voting was a privilege. Only the privileged people of our society were allowed to vote. Not men, not women, privileged people. Landowners, people who had stock in the country. Anybody standing back and having a logical mind will understand that a person who has something to lose should be the only person to have an actual privilege to vote. How can a renter vote on property taxes? He has nothing to lose, nothing to gain. To him, it doesn't matter. But a landowner has a vested interest in whether he should vote on property taxes. Trying to give people the privilege to vote who have no vested interest in the entire country at all is illogical. And then we go back to politics, right? You manipulate the population for an ultimate goal. I want to give people with no vested interest in the country whatsoever the privilege to vote for me. Why? Because I want the power of their votes. So now I'm going to do all sorts of crazy stuff like hand out money to them, promise services to them, which they do not deserve because they have no vested interest in that area of the country, nor have they contributed anything into the money pool that supposedly people contribute to. That's politics, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking to you as if you were adults because you need to be talked to as if you're an adult. None of this child treating you like a child. It's disgusting. You should feel disgusted that somebody thinks that you're so stupid that you need to be talked to like a child. For instance, talking to black people about welfare. Black people are not the majority recipients of welfare. Not only are black people not the majority recipients of welfare, the overwhelming majority of black people do not get welfare. But through politics, they are made to believe that we are. Black people are not poor. Black people are not unemployed. Yes, it's very bad that 8% of black people might be unemployed at one time. That means 92% of black people are employed. Do you see how math works? 92% of adults, or even minors. You can start working when you're what, 16? And if you work on a farm, you can start working when you're able to walk, right? That's the farm regulations. Let's get into this. 3 Republican members of Michigan's House of Representatives introduced a resolution of impeaching against Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer Wednesday, following the state's plan to enforce new coronavirus-related restrictions. Quote, "Today, I introduce articles of impeachment against Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer," Representative Bo Lefebvre said in Twitter on Wednesday. Quote, "The 4 articles of impeachment against Governor Whitmer include failing to respect the separation of powers by exercising powers granted to the legislative branch, violating the constitutional rights of the people of Michigan, issuing executive orders against the interests of the people and state, and using state resources to reward political allies," he added. Michigan officials canceled meeting after contentious certification vote in Wayne County. That's a different story. Lefebvre, along with Representative Matt Maddock and Dare Rendon, issued the resolution claiming the governor has guilty of corrupt conduct in office and crimes and misdemeanors after she and the Department of Health and Human Services issued a 3-week order limiting indoor social gatherings starting Wednesday. That's unconstitutional on its face, ladies and gentlemen. That's unconstitutional. They do not have the authority to tell you what to do inside of your house. They do not have the authority. If a policeman comes and knocks on your door and says, "What are you doing inside of your house?" you need to sue the policeman, sue the department, sue the mayor, sue the governor. You need to pony up, take some donations, and start suing people. That's what you do. They don't have the authority. This is the United States of America. Our Constitution says we have the freedom of for the pursuit of life, liberty, right? The thing, the thing. Michigan has reported a spike in coronavirus cases for 4 times the number of daily cases seen during the first spike this spring, totaling more than 100,000 cases reported so far and more than 8,500 deaths. Michigan has reported a spike in coronavirus cases 4 times the number of daily cases. Let me clue you in on a little bit of thing. Michigan has seen a spike. No, Michigan has not seen a spike. Michigan has started testing 12 times more than they ever have before. I'm not going to talk to you like you're a child. I'm going to talk to you like you're an adult. Michigan has not seen a spike in coronavirus. The United States has not seen a spike in coronavirus. The United States is now testing 12 to 30 times more than they ever have before. We did not have tests. I'm not going to talk to you like you're a child. You're not a child. You're not children. You're adults. I'm going to talk to you like you're an adult. Do the math. If we're testing 12 to 30 times more than we did before, are we seeing a spike? No. And for them to say Michigan is seeing a spike 4 times, that must mean we're actually going down in contagion, right? We're testing 12 to 30 times more, but we're only getting numbers for 4 times as much as we had before. We should have a spike of 30 times more, right? That's how math works, right? If you test for something 30 times more often than you did before, you should, all things being equal, get 30 times the result. But no, you're only getting 4. So they're trying to make it seem like it's a bigger problem when the exact opposite is actually true. You understand? In response, the governor and state health officials instated the Pause to Save Lives order and closed indoor eating at restaurants and bars, which have the lowest infection rate. The lowest infection rates. The lowest infection rates. Not only do they have the lowest infection rates, but people were saying if the infection rate is so low at bars and they're closing down schools, maybe we should send the children to the bars as a joke. But it's a joke based on the reality of them trying to instill fear in the population. Because you can't put out a report that tells you, in fact, the infection rate in bars is the lowest of the land, but yet close down schools. Which, if you actually venture into looking at the actual data on schools and children infection rates, it would seem that everybody should be going to schools. But I digress, and I don't want to get into somebody trying to fact check something. I have said nothing, you heard nothing. But not all of Michigan's GOP agree with the calls for impeachment, and Michigan House Speaker Rep. Lee Chatfield, Republican, called the move a, quote, distraction from the real things we have to get done in our state. What kind of Republican are we talking about? More than likely he's a rhino. I don't know the person. But this is probably the most important issue that Michigan has to deal with right now. How tone deaf do you have to be to say, well, calls for impeachment over a governor issuing stay at home, do not congregate in your house orders is not the most important issue? Apparently, millions of Michiganians are affected by this order. That's not the most important issue? He needs to be removed from office. Quote, we're not the party that impeaches someone because we're upset with policies that they've enacted. Tone deaf. Completely tone. He's out of his mind. He told local news outlet Michigan Live, quote, I thought it was shameful that the Democrats did to President Trump last year, and I would assume that any attempt by Republicans right now with the current set of facts that we have to impeach the governor would be on the same level. It's not the same deal. What the Democrats did with the president talking about impeachment is not the same as the governor of Michigan being impeached. The facts are not the same. They're not the same people. They're not even the same gender. There's nothing the same about them. They're not the same age. There's nothing the same. And guaranteed this guy's a lawyer. He knows full well that they're not the same. This is politics, ladies and gentlemen. Politics. It's not based in truth. You can't turn around and say, oh, we're Republicans. We don't need to engage. What? I'm going to show you later on how what she's doing is illegal, if you make it that far in the video. Chatfield and Republican Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey said they were frustrated that the governor had ordered the partial shutdown on her own, but said that they were eager to work in a bipartisan way. What? They were eager to work in a bipartisan way. These are rhinos. They need to be removed from office. Let me repeat their names. Republican Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey of Michigan and Chatfield need to be removed from office. They're not Republican. Do you hear me? All of you Republicans from Michigan, they're not Republican. You did not vote in Republicans into your office. Quote, as always, we stand ready to act in a bipartisan way when the governor decided it is worth her time. Until then, we are still reviewing the details of this order like everyone else, Chatfield reported, said on Sunday. Not Republican. You can't work in a bipartisan way on something illegal. Let me now refer to you what I'm talking about when I say illegal. The governor could not be reached for comment by Fox News. Whitmer is openly defying the state Supreme Court, Michigan State Supreme Court, order that made it clear only the legislature has the power to extend shutdown orders. She continues to issue what she knows is unlawful orders, whether they are warranted or not. The only appropriate remedy now is to remove her from office. The Michigan State Supreme Court made it abundantly clear the only people who can actually extend shutdown orders are the legislature. She is operating outside the scope of her office completely. It is illegal. There's no semantics about this. There's no, well, if you look at it from this perspective, no. She doesn't have the power. She doesn't have the authority. And for Republican legislatures in Michigan to say, we're going to work on a bipartisan, what are you talking about? What she's doing is illegal. There's no bipartisanship. If anything, the Democrats should be joining in on the impeachment. I'm not going to talk to you like you're a child. I'm going to talk to you like you're an adult. The state Supreme Court said only the legislature has that authority, that power. The governor issuing such statements, such orders, is beyond the scope of her power. And that is illegal. And there are consequences for doing illegal stuff in office. The least among them is being impeached and removed from office. Thank you all for watching.